All right, so we have Chris Michael today, nomination in the Best Cinematography category for the film The Turn of the Screw. Congratulations, Chris.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and hello.
Thank you. And so we have a few questions for you. What made you go into filmmaking?
Well, I started off pretty conventionally, really, sort of like with kind of like creatively, like with GCSE A levels, and then a degree and then a master's. I actually didn't complete the master's because it was sort of repeating all the stuff that I was doing on the degree. So I decided that I've been in education for too long, and it was time to get out there, set up a production company, and start making short films. And that was it, really. And there was a lot of trial and error. Obviously, I think the first few short films that I made were just over ambitious for the budget that I had. But the problem, I think, with filmmakers starting out is that they want to do all the Hollywood stuff, so they oversubscribe their scripts and they make bigger things than they got their money for. If I could tell my younger self something, it would be that just to keep everything small and really short and tiny and contained, and then grow out from there as you succeed. But the ironic thing is that this film is a contained film, by a prison film by its very nature is contained. So it's like
exactly.
I've got a circle with my advice there, but so yeah, did that answer that correctly? Yeah, I think okay. I'm going to caveat something as well on top of that. I kind of like got this kind of yearning to sort of like write and tell stories from when I was at film school, and I think film back then, probably not so much now because Hollywood is sort of like dying a little bit. Back then, it was film and music were the immediate ways to reach a lot of people very quickly, more than sort of like kind of creative writing or novels and stuff like that. And so, although film making is very hard because of the amount of money that you require to make them, you can touch more people with your particular message. And those are the message films, are the films that I kind of wanted to make, entertainment plus a message there as well. So so I saw film as that sort of medium that could sort of like reach out and get certain kind of aspects of what I wanted to say across, if that makes sense.
Okay, yes, totally. And if you could, how would you make that film better, the one that you submitted?
Yeah, I think it's always going to, the answer to that is always going to be money. Kind of, obviously you don't want to say, oh, I would have had better actors, I would have had this, that, and the other. But it's like more money would bring you more time, more freedom, and you could have the top cast and everything like that. Yeah, I don't know. There's probably a few things that I would tweak and change. I definitely needed more time to shoot. I mean, we shot it in 4 days. Like a
Oh my God, 4 days. Wow.
Yeah,
You did
so
great.
yeah, but I suppose we were only, a lot of the time we're in one location because it's all shot in a prison cell. But that throws up its own sort of like issues as well. But so yeah, more money, which would have got me everything that I wanted. And yeah, well, I'm just kind of experiencing moving into expanding the story now for a feature version. So I'm kind of getting an idea of what that feels like in terms of, all the stuff that worked in the short film isn't necessarily going to work in the feature. So it's kind of been a bit of a roller coaster, which I've kind of just like come to the end of, developing it into something a lot bigger, basically. So
Nice.
yeah.
And why did you choose that subject for your film?
Yeah, well, I'm writing all the time. I've written loads of screenplays that none of them have been produced so far. And but I don't see it as I don't see that as failure. I just see that as my education. It's like going to university for screenwriting, got to keep writing constantly all the time, in order to improve your craft. So by the time you get to the end of that tenure, as in you've written loads of screenplays, that's almost like, oh, that's my education, that's my degree, and now I'm ready to go, if that makes sense. So this short film was kind of like made for that reason, a sort of kind of calling card short film to sort of like attempt to get the industry to stand up and take notice, and so that I could sort of like say, okay, you like that, so look, I got this, you know. So but in terms of the subject matter, my true crime is a massive thing for me. It's huge. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. And I'm always like watching documentaries, listening to podcasts, and so on. And when you're doing that constantly and reading, things float into your mind. And you know, I always wanted to do a prison film, and this kind of visual of this black inmate and this white inmate forced to get on in those particular times, kind of like sat with me in my brain. For a little while, and then I kind of like, you know how you do, you just kind of sit with it, it incubates, and you make notes, and you think 2 weeks later it's still there, still love it. Months later I still love it. Okay, let's put a budget together, let's raise some money, let's get it done. So that's how it worked really. And it's that particular era, 1981. It's the eve of the Brixton riots, and which was all kicked off by an incident in the Brixton community between the community and the police. And the riots basically just exploded onto the streets. It was the first of two riots that were in the Brixton area, basically, in 1981. And it was all surrounded by the sus law, which was a sort of a legal loophole in the law that meant that you could arrest people and put them in prison for actually doing nothing, for suspecting them of something. So all that I love, politics and you know, like kind of sociology and stuff like that, and true crime, mixing all that together. So what you've got with the turn of the screw is a kind of like sprinkling of all the things that I was like studying at that time, and it was during lockdown that I was doing that. So essentially, it's a lockdown film, which kind of just fused lots of my passions together at the time, and so yeah.
Nice, and it has a lot of meaning. So it gives a film with a lot of meaning in it. So that's
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Which I love, actually. Yeah, I do like that. I like to be entertained, but it's nice to get something, just a little an edge to it, you know, to learn
Yeah, I
spark along.
agree. It's better that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so what do you think is the most important thing to know when you start a career in filmmaking? Do you have an advice for young filmmakers?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and loads. I mean, I went to film school, and so I realized how ill prepared film school prepares you for the industry. It's like how our school curriculum does not prepare you for the working life. It just doesn't. For whatever reason, it hasn't been changed. It hasn't been overhauled. Maybe it's too much hassle to overhaul it. But if you overhauled it, you'd start talking about stuff like debt. You'd start talking about stuff like marriage and relationships. You'd start talking about money, essentially all those really important things in order for a human being to survive in this world. You'd put into the curriculum. So I transfer that the same for film school. You've got to teach people about business. You've got to teach them about business, especially now in this climate. Hollywood is dying out, you know, the rise of the internet, YouTube and so on, and becoming entrepreneurial within film is really important. Now, I don't know whether they're doing that. They might be teaching stuff like that now, but it's a long time since I've been there, so I don't know. But you know, when I was there, it was kind of all it was all about the creativity, and the ideal is to mix the creativity with the knowledge of business and money, and then you'll be able to survive in the harder, darker times like we are now. So I would say, you know, just kind of like you might love to write, you might love to direct. It's amazing. I feel really good. There's no money in the bank. Do you know what I mean? I would say learn about money, and learn how to raise money, and learn how to kind of like launch a business, set up a business, and be around people who know that kind of thing. Make that as just as much a priority as getting around actors and directors and those kind of people. um yeah, and yeah, so I always say the three things that you really need in order to do well in film, and that one is the network, two is money, and three is knowledge and creativity. I think you can make it with two of those, but one of those is missing. I think you're going to have problems. So you always need money, to make films. Without the knowledge and creativity, you won't be able to make anything decent. You won't be able to raise the money. Without the network to help you, a film is a collaborative kind of space. You're not going to be able to do it either. So you need at least two of those. I think if you've got the money and the network, you can find people with the creativity. If you've got the creativity and the money, you can find people with the network. And you see what I mean? So you have to have at least two of those. And I think that's what people miss. They don't think about what do I need in order for this to happen for me.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
So it's more than just being an artist, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, it's all very well, and I think the sad thing is that, and I always think of when I think of some filmmakers, including myself as well. I think of the impoverished nature of the old art world, like the Vincent van Gogh's kind of like traipsing around Marseille and southern France with no money, but just being compelled to paint, just painting, going from like impoverished hovel to impoverished hovel, just painting and painting and painting. No one cared, no one gave no money or anything like that, but you just did it because he had that vocation. But if he had someone who knew business behind him, then wow, I mean, goodness, he might have been alive and be able to sell his painting. So I think just a really important aspect of the filmmaking process. Learn the business side, or get with someone who knows the business side, or train yourself in your weaker parts of your skill set, which might be money and business and stuff like that, which you tend to find it is. Creative people just want to create. Oh yeah, brilliant. And then you sort of like come away from that creative cloud and think, I've got to pay my rent. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, and it can be frightening. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what I would say to up and coming filmmakers. Yeah.
Thank you. And can you give us a hint on your upcoming projects?
Well, yeah, actually, yeah. So I've got a feature doc coming out in November. That's about the former world's strongest man, Eddie Hall. It's about it is about if I remember rightly, it's about, I'm just wondering how to pitch it because I haven't pitched it before. To pitch it. That is about mental health within strength sports.
Okay.
So just to let you know, yeah. And I am working on the feature. I've been writing the script today, actually. Just completed a draft ready to go for consultation for the Turn of the Screw. So it's a feature version of the Turn of the Screw, basically. So I have been I went through a bit of a struggle a couple of months ago, but now I've got through it. It was a structural thing, and I've got through it, and the script's gone off now, so I'm waiting for it to come back. And yeah,
nice. So it does look like a feature film, like from it looks like a part of a feature film because it's so well done. That's yeah. So I think it will go well for that.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
And where can we follow you?
Yeah, if you have a look at the website, www.creativefilms.co.uk, all the sort of like work goes up on there, and that all the links or social media are on that website as well. So yeah.
Okay, nice. So I will put the link under the YouTube interview as well.
Oh, fantastic. That's great. Yeah, that's brilliant.
All right. So nice. Thank you again for being here today with us. Chris,
No problem.
it was super nice talking with you.
Oh, thank you. How do I pronounce your name, by the way? Heloise?
Heloise, yes.
Heloise. Okay, yeah. Where's that from? Where's that name from?
It's from Quebec.
Oh, okay, Quebec. Okay, right. I see.
Yes.
Oh, nice one. Well, it's lovely to meet you. Thank you very much for your